Yo, what's going on? It's been a minute, but your boy is on here doing a live where we're gonna cover a few videos, a few topics that as always, and not always, most times related to finance and just a food for thought. So hopefully the DFD community, the family, the tribe can avoid these ridiculous ass situations that we're seeing on here. Speaking of ridiculous situations, I did videos the last time I was on here the week before last about squatters in New York City. And lo and behold, I guess I spoke it into existence. I actually might have a squatter in New York City situation that I need to address, which is going to be a pain in the ass, probably. But that's a whole nother video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Marcus, the debt free dad, where we talk finances, attorney reactions. So we talk about the money, we talk about the litigation. We talk about the criminal charges filed. We talk about all of those things. Sometimes, most times, it ties back to the finances, but is all for infotainment purposes. I am a licensed attorney in multiple places, but none of those places amount to me being your personal counsel or financial advisor, which I am not. So always seek a professional in your area who can square you away. But after this video, you will realize that sometimes professionals ain't worth a damn. So we're gonna dive in and talk about it. And if you see anything you like during the course of this video, definitely support the channel. It's free to do so. Click the subscribe button, the bell notification, the thumbs up to push this video out to more people. Now, the first thing I like to put these videos, since it's multiple videos, I like to put them in order of BS. Okay, is it? Okay, it's time. It's past 10 o'clock, so I could curse. But I like to put these videos in order of least ridiculous to most ridiculous and egregious. And we're going to talk a little bit about, I don't know how I would probably avoid these situations because I don't think every financial device or mechanism to purportedly safeguard your money or your investments or your assets is actually a good one. But we'll dive in and talk about it. So, first up, we are going to talk about hey, safe deposit boxes. Who out there actually has a safe deposit box? I'll tell you, I actually thought about getting one. Like at one point, I was wilding. At one point, I wanted to get a gold block. I was like, I'm gonna get one gold block because I only could afford like one. It wouldn't even be like a Scrooge McDuck block. It would have been like a small block. But at one point, I thought about getting like a gold block or putting my nice watches or something in a safe deposit box. And then I just had this thought where I don't know. All the stuff you put in a safe deposit box, if something really like bad happens, how the hell are you going to actually get to it? Yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of my thought. But definitely, we're going to talk about safe deposit boxes. Hey, what's going on? Hey, man, it's not looking good, bro. I'm probably going to do a video on that tomorrow, man. I feel real shook about this situation. One, because I did videos about it. Two, because it's in New York, which has the worst squatter laws that turn homeowners into criminals. And three, I did a video about a lady who ran into some squatters and she ended up in a damn bag in her closet, chopped up, folded up, which hey, it was terrible. But yeah, it's just all bad. But yeah, I'm gonna dive into that tomorrow. I'm just kind of, I got a vacation coming up, so I just want to enjoy that before I get to the bullshit. You know how I go. It's pretty terrible. Yeah, evict. I mean, that's the problem though. You got to evict them, and that take time and money. Could you imagine? Like, I got to travel from here to New York maybe two or three times to go in the court to handle it. It's just gonna be a shit show. But yeah, I'm gonna feel y'all. I might actually do a live if I have to go up there and go to that property. One for my safety, since New York whack ass gun laws. But yeah, I might actually record that interaction because it might be a smart thing to do. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this video. We talking about hey, why you shouldn't trust banks, but not banks. We're talking about some financial institutions in general. before we go in, I actually had a conversation with someone who is a pretty savvy investor. They actually have published literature in the financial space. And so they were talking to me about, investing with an investment firm. And typically how it works is it's like getting involved in the dark web. Like you got to have a certain amount of money, and you have to be invited by someone who's already investing with this firm. Sounds real Bernie Madoff ish to me, but they actually got some pretty good returns. It was like I want to say like I think they say like you need 100 racks. Like if you don't even got 100 racks and an invite, they're gonna be like, nah. And this isn't just some high speed investment firm you never heard of. This is one of the major financial institutions that probably I don't know 50-60% of people probably got a credit card in this financial institution's name. Is kind of wild, but so let's pivot and talk about why you shouldn't trust banks. And this is a prime example. We're going to talk safety deposit boxes, and one thing that could go wrong. And y'all let me know in the comments, do y'all have a safety deposit box? If you don't, would you get one? Is it a good idea or a bad idea? Good or bad?
You would think a bank would be the safest place to keep your valuables.
But a Kansas woman is warning other people tonight about the safety of safe deposit boxes when the contents of hers almost disappeared. Fox 4 problem solver Linda Wager has the details and some tips for keeping your own valuables safe.
For years, every time Sandra Owens had an important document, she'd bring it to her bank and stick it in her safe deposit box.
The deed to my house, the title to my car, my birth certificate.
But in late December, she got this letter saying the branch where her safe deposit box was stored was closing and her box was moving to a new location. And that's where this problem starts.
I'm just thinking it's going to be a simple transaction. Move my box, put it in a new box.
But when she pays a visit to the new location, a bank employee tells her some horrible news.
She says, the whole box was missing. And she said, maybe you came in and got your box.
Now, how stupid is that? I know Meemaw. God bless this lady. I know she up there in age, but how the hell they gonna tell her? Maybe you forgot that you came in and got your box. Like, y'all know, if you just joining in the video, I'm generally not a fan of a safety deposit box. Personally, I think you would probably be better off having a safe that you actually stash in your house somewhere. Like for something like the titles to your car. Like what benefit? I don't see the benefit of value of having those at the bank. Like you could get one of them high speed safes that look like a picture hanging up on the wall because it's a paper document and just put it in there and nothing will ever happen to it. And those damn things fireproof and everything. But that's crazy that they told her maybe you came in and got your safety deposit box. That's some BS.
The whole box was missing. And she said, maybe you came in and got your box.
That's
and you
crazy.
Don't remember. I'm old, but I can remember if I came in and got my safe deposit box. So
Right.
I totally freak out.
Her sister even drove down to the bank to try and help.
I was really concerned with my sister.
Mrs. Owens contacted Kansas City, Kansas police, who told her she couldn't make a theft report because there was no clear evidence of a crime.
I've got 11 cases going on here in my office where similar things have happened.
Dave McGuinn is a former banker and a safe deposit specialist. His company trains banks on how to manage and protect safe deposit boxes. He says some institutions do a pretty bad job putting both the customer's belongings and the bank at risk.
That's one of the reasons they're trying to get out of the service, because of the massive liability.
The other reason is that safe deposit boxes take up a lot of space at a time when many banks are downsizing their physical locations. Bank behemoth Chase recently stopped offering safe deposit boxes at its 50.
Hey, that story I talked about with the investment firm that's owned by a major financial institution that a lot of people got credit cards for.
5,700 branches nationwide. But that doesn't mean safe deposit boxes are completely disappearing. Many credit unions are picking up the slack and getting into the safe deposit box business in hopes of winning new customers. McGuinn says if you're in the market for a safe deposit box, be careful who you choose. He has a list of 30 questions you should ask.
The most important question on there, do you leave people in your vault alone?
If the bank does, choose a different bank because you don't want anyone else to be alone in a room with your safe deposit box.
There are tools that you can buy on the internet right now that will open every safe deposit box in there in a matter of seconds.
Also, only choose a bank where the safe deposit boxes require 2 keys to open, not 1. 2 is a level of security you don't want to bypass. Plus, remember, the contents of your safe deposit box are not insured by the bank. You'd have to sue the bank to prove that somehow they were at fault for your items disappearing. There is a happy ending to this story.
This is what everybody
Thank
walks
God,
out of that
finally.
bank with.
None of my
Owens
stories down here
got
have
her
happy
safe
endings.
deposit box back. The senior vice president of the Bank of Labor made it his personal mission to find her box.
Just give me 24 hours and I'll see what I can do.
The very next day, he called her with the good news. Somehow her box got left behind in that now empty but still locked bank branch on Minnesota
That's
Avenue.
incompetent.
That's where it was found. A bank spokeswoman blamed part of the confusion on the fact that Mrs. Owens had multiple family members with legal access to the box.
Really? They gonna blame this sweetheart. First they said she was essentially senile and maybe she took it out. Now they gonna say no, the reason we left it behind in the old bank was because you had multiple family members who had access. I know they didn't take the damn box out and move it and just say that. I don't know. That's terrible. That's a horrible story. I'm glad
So
she
it was
found it though.
first believed that one of them might have taken it.
I was just totally relieved.
She's sharing her story to warn others. Check in regularly on your safe deposit box. Don't ever assume all is well.
Mrs. Owens said she doesn't know whether she'll ever get another safe deposit box, but our experts said safe deposit boxes are still the safest way to go, far more secure than a home safe. And he should know. He said he had a home safe broken into by thieves, and they used his own tools from his own garage to do it. Linda Wager, Fox 4 Problem Solvers.
I don't know about that. Like, I don't know, man. Hey, shout out to her. I'm glad she got her belongings back. But I'm with you too, Rich, in this. This is the primary reason why you're better off having a safe at home. And I don't know if y'all know, like I'm a tech guy. They have safes out there where you can make it look like the safe looks like a wall vent. You literally cut out a piece of drywall, put something in, and it looks like a wall vent. And to open it, you have like a card. Like they have so many things that you can have that appear to be normal household items that are actually safes that it'll probably be more important. But the other point is, they said in the video, none of that stuff is insured. So if I would have went out and got my big ass gold Scrooge McDuck block and put it in the safety deposit box, if I would have had a dumbass bank like the Bank of Labor, which sound like a terrible name for a bank, and they left it there and somebody took my Scrooge McDuck gold block, I would have just been asked out. I would have had to pay out my pocket to get some attorney to pay them, to sue them for their incompetence or their negligence in losing all of these items. I think that's just a waste of time, especially for things like birth certificates, titles. I think those things are probably better off being at your actual residence. I mean, I just don't think that there's a I don't think that there's a high volume of crimes going around with people going in your house taking your birth certificate. Because if somebody wants to steal your identity, they don't need your goddamn birth certificate to do it. They'll use this. They'll use a computer or the internet or something like that. I think that's just kind of terrible. But I'm not a safety deposit box guy. I just don't trust leaving my belongings with somebody else and they're completely uninsured. And when the zombie apocalypse start, I gotta pray to God that I can actually get to the bank and the people are there to open it. Like, nah, that's kind of wild. But that's a legitimate reason why you probably should, take some a real good look at if a safety deposit box is something you need. They actually had that list that showed the top 30 things that you should consider. The main thing that I should consider is if it's something that's really worth value. If I keep my gold block that I don't have, by the way, but if I had a gold block, if I had it in my house and somebody broke in my house and stole it, that guy who got his home safe broken into and they used his tools, at least the shit in his safe, his insurance company is going to pay him for that. That same shit would have got lost at the Bank of Labor or stolen at the Bank of Labor. He wouldn't have got nothing unless he went to court, which would have cost him a bunch of attorney's fees. So that's story number one. Now we're going to pivot. Let me cue things up. I probably should have already had it queued up. But let me go ahead and cue this second story up because the second story is much, much, much worse. That's why I kind of put it second. Let me see. I got so many stories that I want to share, and it's just a lot. Yeah, home safe, man, all the way, man. Keep your home stuff in the safe at home because it's insured. If you get valuable personal property items, if somebody breaking your house, guns, antiques, jewelry, you're gonna get compensated for all of that stuff. Only way that would be a problem is if you stay like in the hood and your place get broken in a lot. They're gonna be like, nah, fam, nah, fam, we can't secure your belongings because that happened to me. I wasn't even in the hood. I was actually in a pretty affluent neighborhood, but that's where property crimes occur the most in affluent neighborhoods. Just FYI, food for thought. Now, this second story is, I think, a lot more interesting because it's a lot worse. And this one pivots, and we're going to talk a little bit about trust. Well, what is a trust? A trust is essentially a mechanism that you can put assets in that allows you greater control of how that asset is actually controlled and or distributed. So let's just put it into context. If I have a life insurance policy and I name my son as the beneficiary, and it's like $2 million, okay, one, he probably gonna waste 1.5 million, but that's neither here nor there. But if I have a life insurance policy, I name my son as a beneficiary, something happens to me, he gets $2 million. If I have a will and I want to leave, half of that, 1 million to my son, well, not a life insurance policy because that doesn't transfer technically. But if I had just money in the bank and I pass away and I have a will and I want to leave some to my son, some to my daughter, it'll direct that, okay, half goes to him, half goes to her. I can leave property in what's called a life estate where I pass away, I leave my home, this humble abode, Casa de la DFD. I leave my humble abode to my son and I give him a life estate. You have title to this home for as long as you live. Once you pass away, title will revert or transfer to your kids or my grandkids or my future grandkids or your younger sister. You can manipulate a will to do certain things, but a trust is really specific. That's why you see a lot of people who have a shitload of assets. Like when I pass away, I'm gonna just have some stuff. I'm probably not gonna have an estate by definition. But you see a lot of people who have multi-million-dollar estates, they utilize trust. Some people actually, if they have a life insurance policy, they'll make the beneficiary of the life insurance policy the actual trust as opposed to an individual. And there's some benefits in doing that. But the long story short is a trust is a better way to control your assets. You can put, hey, I have a trust. It's $1 million in that trust. I want my son to get 7% of the profits that money in that trust generates every year, or I want that $1 million to be given out in the form of a loan to people in my family who want to attend college, buy their first home, or start their first business, who have a legitimate business plan and all of these things. You can put all those mechanisms in place to control it, to ensure that the money isn't just screwed off by your family members and your loved ones. Because statistically, hey, whatever wealth you build, whatever wealth I build, my kids is statistically likely going to lose 70% of it during the course of their lifetime, which is an utter travesty. So you should spend it while you have it. But so we're going to talk a little bit about trust, because a lot of times it's financial institutions, it's law firms. You see a lot of time are the trustee, and they're the ones who are responsible for making sure that your plans, your wishes for how you want your assets, whether it's life insurance proceeds because you named your trust as the beneficiary, whether it's a home, but they're the ones responsible for following through with what your plan is. But what happens when those people don't follow through? This is a terrible story of a gentleman whose daughter had a medical issue and the hospital screwed up. Because the hospital screwed up, they actually got a settlement amount that was supposed to help provide for his daughter, who now has this developmental disability or has this issue for the remainder of her life. The first thing you're going to notice about this story is the amount of money they got back, in my opinion, was ridiculously low. They needed somebody like DFD, because hey, I don't play when it comes to the negotiation side of the game. But I feel like the amount of money that they got was low. But we're gonna see how they lost that money and how other people lost over $100 million in a place that was supposed to be responsible for controlling their assets within a trust, within various trusts. And the sad thing is, this company actually, in my personal opinion, it kind of smelt scammy, because they targeted families who got settlements from hospitals due to some type of medical malpractice. And soon as I saw that, like alarm went off in my head. But the average person would see that and think, oh, they have experience in dealing with these type of situations, the same situation that I'm in. So let me go ahead, cue this up so we can check this terrible travesty of a video out, and y'all can give me y'all opinion and takes on what y'all think. But it's no matter what you do to try to protect your assets, if somebody gonna screw you over, I'm gonna be honest, like, it's really hard to circumvent that. It requires you to do the right thing. It requires you to have the right document, the will, the right trust drafted up the right way. It requires you to entrust the right person to carry out your plan or your last wishes. It's just an absolute shit show. Let's go ahead and dive in.
This evening with a story every homeowner should hear. The News 4 Jax I-Team has a warning about the crime of real estate ransom.
No, this is actually another one. See, it's so many topics that I could talk about. It's so many topics. Hold on, let me back out. That was a different one. That was bad too. As soon as you heard real estate ransom, I'm about to tell y'all that shit don't sound. That actually, I ain't gonna say it's the worst, but it's pretty bad. Let me go ahead and get this right. I got this daggone thing jacked up. Let me pull it up. I pulled up the wrong video because I just have so many videos. I have so many videos of so many topics related to people who on that bullshit with other people's finances, or people who get finessed out of something where it's just kind of, utterly awful. Now I'm trying to, let's see, over here. All right, here you go. Later. My bad. I know. Like, damn, dude, we ain't paid to see you click around on your damn computer, man. What's wrong with you, bro? Nah, I'm about to get it. That was scammers, standoff. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, I got the right video now. My bad, people. I'm struggle streaming, so y'all be patient. But I got the right video right now. We about to get everything queued up. Let's share that. Let's enlarge that. All right, perfect. All right.
Millions of dollars in trust fund money missing, cash that was meant to provide long-term care for some of the most vulnerable.
A local nonprofit was supposed to manage those funds, but the founder is now accused of loaning himself $100 million and then not repaying the money. 8 on Your Side investigator Brittany Muller introduced us to a Bay Area family whose trust account is now empty. And now
It's fucking
Brittany
terrible.
has learned that much more about this nonprofit and the mounting case against the man who
This
started
shit
it
broke
all.
my heart.
Brittany is here now in studio with the story.
Keith and Stacey, good evening to you both. The Center for Special Needs Trust Administration manages trust funds for people that have had a catastrophic personal injury.
All right, pause it real quick. I want to rewind that back. Listen to the name. Listen to the name of the company that they gave themselves to manage these funds.
For Special Needs Trust.
Here now in studio with the story.
Keith and Stacey, good evening to you both. The Center for Special Needs Trust Administration.
That's I'm not gonna say that's a red flag, but oftentimes people who ain't shit who do scams like this and misappropriate funds, they really try to give themselves a name. So one, it just seems really legitimate. Like that name actually sounds as if it's some type of governmental agency or something that specializes in this when it's actually just a private company. So that was the first thing that I heard that I was like, that
Stacey,
kind of
good
gave me
evening
pause
to
for
you
pause.
both. The Center for Special Needs Trust Administration manages trust funds for people that have had a catastrophic personal injury and received a settlement because of it. What I've discovered, their money started vanishing in 2009.
I get a letter in the mail saying that the account has been depleted. There's nothing left in there.
Luis Capasso says his daughter Elena, who has Down syndrome, had $250,000 in a trust account managed by the Center for Special Needs Trust Administration. Every penny, he says, is gone.
They don't see you getting the money back, they said.
His case is far from the only one. According to the center's Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing, we've discovered there could be as many as 1,000 people who are missing some or all of their trust money. So I went to speak to the nonprofit spokesperson, Beth Latham.
When the center realized that this had happened, when something had happened, how much money was missing?
The amount we know right now is $100 million.
The center says its new leadership learned 2 years ago that there was a $100 million loan to Boston Finance Group, a company controlled by the center's founder, Leo Gavani, and his associates. The loan transfers began.
Oh, let me pause that real quick because that don't make any sense. Let me run that back. I want to play that one more time.
Finance Group, a company controlled.
$1 million.
The center says its new leadership learned 2 years ago that there was a $100 million loan to Boston Finance Group, a company controlled by the center's founder, Leo Gavani.
All right, let me explain to y'all why that makes no sense. And I'm not saying it was some kickback going on, but I've been I've been dealing with financial crimes for well over a decade. Your boy been in the game for a minute. I would probably actually take a look at the new group who bought it. They said that these loans started in 2009. At some point, there was a transfer to a new company, and this new company said that they found out 2 years ago that all these loans were made. That's not how business is done. Typically, if somebody came to me and said, yo, we want to buy DFD Incorporated, they don't just buy it and then find out about fucking problems afterwards. Pardon my language, because this is a disgusting story. Essentially, what will happen is we interested in buying your company. They get an independent third party to come and do a financial audit of the company. A financial audit is done to determine the health of the company, what vulnerabilities may be there. If I buy this, what risk am I going to have to assume? So that sounds kind of like, that's not even good business common sense, but it sounds like BS to me that this started in 2009. The company got sold, and the new buyers found out 2 years ago that this happened. Y'all just bought this company with no type of third-party independent audit to find any vulnerabilities or flaws in the processes or nothing. That sounds kind of shady, and it would actually make me turn my investigative specs towards the new owners, like just to see, like, hey, let's see what was going on. Something may have been slid under the table, purportedly, allegedly.
That there was a $100 million loan to Boston Finance Group, a company controlled by the center's founder, Leo Gavani, and his associates. The loan transfers began in 2009, around the same time Gavani stepped down from the center's board. But court documents reveal Gavani still had control and influence over the center's operations and finances.
How was it discovered that these funds went missing?
There was some turnover and a letter was discovered.
That unsigned letter dated from November 2021, according to the
This is
bankruptcy
sad.
filing, was left behind by Gavani's daughter, Caitlin Janecki, following her resignation in April 2022. She had been serving as the vice president. The center says it doesn't know why Janecki left, but it caused everything to begin unraveling.
Then began sort of pulling at threads while they still managed the trust funds, trying to figure out what happened here. Where is this money gone?
The center discovered the $100 million loan was supposed to be repaid in full no later than January 1st, 2017. But the center says despite
That
that
dude ain't paying
deadline,
shit back.
Boston Finance Group continued to draw funds and has not paid it back. The center also says during all of this, Gavani tried to take back the center 3 separate times. Latham says during the summer of 2023.
They contacted the law firms and said, we haven't been able to figure this out internally. We'd like you to help us figure it out.
The center filed for bankruptcy on February 9th. Days later, this notice was sent to families impacted, including the Capassos.
I mean, he didn't even care the kids that he was stealing from. That's what makes it so
That's fucked
bad.
up.
What would you, as the spokeswoman for the center, tell these families that don't know where to turn?
I would tell them that we are doing everything we possibly can to get that money back where.
Don't nobody want to hear that shit, lady. Like, let's just keep it a buck. You as the spokesperson for the company, you still getting your paycheck. You probably still getting all your benefits. You probably still getting your bonus. You like, I don't know. Like, you shouldn't even came on this TV show on the news trying to talk about some shit. And because the bottom line is, I hate to say it, and I wish it could be different, but it probably won't. But damn, that's fucked up. Because all of those people who had money in that trust, they all had children who had some type of cognitive disability, developmentally delayed, or something like that. A lot of them was money that they got as a result of settlements from things like medical operations and accidents that caused these developmental and or cognitive delays. And now they screwed. Like, I don't know if y'all know, like, the cost of healthcare is expensive as shit. If you had somebody who needed in-home care and you had to pay out of your pocket, you would go broke. So the fact that a bankruptcy is filed, they probably are going to get back pennies on the dollar. So this guy who had $250,000 in with the hopes that he could peel it off throughout the lifetime for his daughter, it is kind of crazy. And a part of it too is, and we're going to see later in this video, is this is why financial education is so important. Because at one point he's going to say in this video, if I'm not mistaken, because I haven't watched this video in a minute, but he'll say something like, oh, I wanted to take some money out. And he started to talk about the things he wanted to buy when he was taking the money out, which, well, we'll see. But this is just a travesty. And the sad reality of it is they're probably going to get back pennies on the dollar. If this dude had $250,000 that was taken after this bankruptcy, after the lawsuit, man, he may be lucky to get back $25,000 out of the $250,000. I mean, on average, when you have matters like this, you're talking about anywhere between 11 cents to 30 cents on the dollar. That's if you're lucky. That's jacked up big time.
Where it belongs.
Center, tell these families that don't know where to turn.
I would tell them that we are doing everything we possibly can to get that money back where it belongs with them. Every legal remedy available to us, we are accessing it, we are pursuing it.
And we're pursuing it too. We still have a lot of questions here. Where are those loan documents? Well, according to the bankruptcy filing, the center does not have them. And where is Leo Gavani? I'd love to be able to tell
Gone in
you
the
that,
wind.
but so far we haven't been able to reach him or his attorney.
So, Brittany, this is day 2 of this story. A lot unfolding here. We've got the bankruptcy filing, we've got the civil lawsuit. But with all this money missing, shouldn't someone be regulating this or be held accountable?
We're looking into this, and it's simply the matter of whose responsibility is it to oversee a center that was managing over $200 million? I'm told the center notified law enforcement earlier this year. That's 2 years after it found out that $100 million was missing. But exactly when and which agency? We're trying to figure that out. And of course, we're staying on top of this.
All right. Thank you, Brittany.
Well, the robots.
I'm gonna just be honest too.
I
Let me pause that. Nothing against shout out to law enforcement who trying to do their job and do the right thing. But I'm gonna be honest, like most times, like crimes like this, local police aren't equipped to really handle these types of crimes. Like sometimes they do have special units or something like that where they may have, the tax geeks and all the finance nerds in there to peel these things apart. But a lot of times, depending on where you at, local law enforcement don't really have the resources and really people with the skills to investigate this type of crime. Because when you talk about this is a lot different from some shooting that happened where you gotta go look at a chalk outline. You're talking about going through papers, documents, doing a little math, crunching little numbers is not sexy. And one, a lot of people don't just got the bandwidth to even want to sit down and deal with it. I took a look because I thought this story was probably one of the worst stories I ever seen in my life. And I agree. Shout out to my guy Wolverine. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everybody who tuning in, who left comments. But yeah, $250,000 wasn't nothing. I think it was another video where he was like, "Oh, I just wanted to get like $2,000 or $3,000 for a new bed and shit like that." Like, yo, for what his daughter is gonna need and her probably life expectancy, it is just fucked up. And like I don't know what this dude's financial situation is, but it strikes me as one that I don't know if he'll actually be able to make the money to be able to really take care of her outside of some assistance from an outside source, government assistance or something like that. But when I looked into the company, it was interesting. One thing that always pops up as a red flag is kind of the what is the guy? I can't even think of his name now. It's kind of the Jay Morrison rule. If y'all remember Jay Morrison with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, that was a finesse. And this company had something that I say, oh, they violating the Jay Morrison rule, or they're complying with the Jay Morrison rule. Anytime you have a company and everything is controlled by one individual, there's not like a board or a mechanism for checks and balances. Hey, I'm the sole CEO and I can use the proceeds to give myself the loan, and the loan has to get approval from me, and I have to pay the loan back within 6 years, but I'm the person who has the authority to extend that if necessary. Anytime you see any business structure where it's just one person who's doing everything and they control all the edits and essentially the pipeline for the flow of money or loans or things like that, get the hell out of there. It's a scam. Run away. If it's not a scam, it may not be a scam at the moment, but there's a high probability that one fucked up person is going to turn it into a scam. The reason you want to have a board, the reason you want to have multiple checks and balances is in place is because if they had that, one person wouldn't be able to finesse the system and take $100 million worth of money from these kids. Like, okay, I'm the CEO. I want to give myself a loan. If that had to go through a board and it had to get a vote, now you're making it that much harder for someone to be able to scam the system, finesse the system. And this institution didn't have that shit in place. I mean, I think these people just saw the name. The name looked official. It sounded official. They had this portfolio of money, of various trust accounts for other similarly situated children. So these parents probably thought, oh, this is a good place. They're going to take care of me. And now they just end up getting screwed. And I mean, I'll be honest, like they probably don't even have the money for the litigation. The owner who took all of the loans out in the other company's name. I think it was Boston Commercial or Boston Global or something like that. He's in the wind, so that dude's probably on an island somewhere chilling. Just I don't know. It's fucked up. This was one of the worst stories ever because there's children involved and they helpless. I mean, it's like 3 real classes of vulnerable people, 4 real classes of vulnerable people. You got like elderly people, you got kids, people who have developmental delays, cognitive delays, and if you really the tree hugger type pets, like those are the full group of persons, even though a dog is a quadruped, most pets are. But those are the full group of living things that really don't have nobody to speak for them. The only voice that they got is the voice that somebody who's helping or that the government gives them to speak on their behalf because they just don't have the means to. So I guess the big takeaway is, you know, it's cool. Now y'all see why I don't like using like investment firms and shit because I just seen stuff like this too much, too common, and I represented some low lives. But there are good places out there, but you have to have some type of financial knowledge about what's going on. And really, you just have to be the one to ask the questions. All the time, asking the questions won't be able to prevent you from getting finessed. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. This guy could have probably asked all the right questions, but now you're talking about scammers showing fake documents, showing fake profits from bogus investments. Like it could get real deep, but I think the bigger thing is you gotta have a basic understanding of just how things work. Because honestly, this guy would have been better taking that 250 racks, putting it in a mutual fund to track the S&P 500, and he would have made probably 10% a year on average on that $250,000, and at least it would have been doing something aside from budgeting some wealthy ass crooks fucking yacht in the Bahamas or something. But y'all let me know what y'all think about these 2 topics today. Are you a fan of safe deposit boxes at a bank, or do you prefer, hey, I'm gonna keep my stuff at the crib, stash it in my safe, stash it somewhere? So safe deposit boxes or stash your stuff at home. And what are y'all thoughts on this story about trust? Like, it's called a trust because you have to entrust somebody to do the right thing with the funds or the assets that you gave them. And, that's kind of scary. You leave I'm going to pass away and leave all of my stuff in a trust for my kids to be able to do these wonderful things with. And somebody at the firm decides to have a field day. I mean, really, to me, it proves the best thing that you can do is try to give the next generation, your kids, their kids, to try to give them the guidance and the education to be good stewards with whatever money, whatever resources that they earn, or if they're lucky enough that they may inherit from their parents. Because I mean, you can't really trust nobody to do the right thing with the money. Hell, your kids might not do the right thing with the money. They might buy a big ass cocaine ball like on the Dave Chappelle show. But at least if you kind of lay that foundation with your kids, you may be better off. And they have a vested interest, presumably, in seeing the wealth build from generation to generation. That's it for this story. It was a rough one. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Make sure y'all like this video, share, subscribe, dislike it. I don't care what y'all do. I'm just happy if y'all interact. If you enjoyed this video, take a look at the content on the screen. It's going to be more content related to finance and attorney reactions. And my son gave me a video topic. He told me I should do a video called what are the top 5 defenses that P. Diddy should use regarding his alleged trafficking violation. I don't even want to say the word because YouTube be pressed. And y'all let me know what y'all think. That's a good video topic in that because I got some defenses. I could pull a defense out of the worst situation. Now, is it a viable defense? That's a whole different story, but we're going to rap about it. I might do that video sometime this week or something, maybe on the weekend, to do something fun and kind of break the monotony of all the seriousness, even though that shit is serious for Diddy and his son, King Combs. But I digress. Y'all take care. Have a good day. Be blessed. Peace.